Hi, welcome to Parent Academy Real Talk. My name is Mary Beth Stapleton, Manager of Family and Community Partnerships for Hartford County Public Schools. Today we're going to talk about a very important topic. How do we raise our little ones to be ready for school? Early childhood education. With me today, we have some experts in this area to help parents understand really how do we prepare our children for school? How do we make sure they're ready? So to get us started, we'll have introductions.
Hello, I'm Kathy Griffin, the coordinator of early childhood programs for Hartford County Public Schools.
I'm Tracey Brady. I'm the pre-K instructional coach for Hartford County Public Schools.
I'm Niesha Franklin. I'm the Family Service Coordinator with the Judy Center at Magnolia Elementary School.
And I'm Rosemary Lober, Quality Assurance Specialist with Maryland Excels, Hartford and Cecil County.
Thank you all for being here today. This is a really important topic for parents of little ones, right? That we really need to understand how do we prepare our little ones for school. We see a lot in the media, we see a lot of books about the topic, but you all are the experts, so really thank you so much for being here today. Let's start with the kindergarten classroom. Some of us that are a little older may have memories of kindergarten. I think for me, it was half day. It was, we kind of we played a little bit and then we went back home. We had some milk and cookies and then we went back home. But that's really changed a lot, hasn't it? What does the kindergarten classroom look like today? And we'll start with Kathy since she's head of early childhood.
Kindergarten has changed from about 20 years ago. So kindergarten is now mandatory and it is a full day program. Children experience language arts, which is reading and learning some sight words and doing some literacy and some comprehension, just answering some questions about books. They experience mathematics, science, and social studies.
Wow.
They go to lunch. They have outdoor play. They also go to specials. So they would go to the library, physical education, art. What am I missing? Music.
Yeah.
And they also experience learning centers, which is very important playtime for them. And they experience nap and snack.
Oh, okay. So when you talk about, literacy, I'm thinking of I have 4 children, I have a grandchild, thinking, oh my gosh, are they supposed to be ready to read? How do we know that they're ready to read by kindergarten? What are some things that they need to do to prepare for, how do we do that? How do we get our kids ready to read?
So I think the first thing is just oral language and talking to your child. Mm-hmm. So just sitting and having conversations, mom, dad, friends, grandparents, going places and having conversations, just back and forth talking and communication. After that, just reading to your child, just taking out a simple book from the library, something from home, reading a story, asking some questions about the story, and having conversations.
So what
of course,
age...
the alphabet's important too.
Oh, yeah.
But just having simple conversations and just daily living with your child and having communication.
So what age do you start to read to them?
From
In
birth.
utero.
Oh, wow, in utero.
Absolutely. There's
But when they come out to read to them, because little ones, I've seen little ones around 1 year old that can turn the pages.
Nice.
So they have book and print awareness.
Right.
But I think also on top of what Kathy said, parents sometimes think that to go to school, to kindergarten, they need to know all these academic things.
Well, that's why I said the word literacy, right? Because that sounds really important.
That what Kathy said, but I feel like they also need social skills, being able to take turns, being able to, have some impulse control and things like that. I think the social emotional part is key, because if you don't have that in place, then you can't really learn.
So when they get to the classroom, is there an expectation that they'll be able to identify their name, write letters? How when you start in September, what are they supposed to be doing kind of when they walk in the door? What are some things?
So basically for kindergarten and even pre-kindergarten, we take every student. So it doesn't matter if you're reading a chapter book or if you're just starting and learning a couple letters. So all children are accepted, and the kindergarten classroom is varied for all children of all abilities. So, parents can do some simple things with their children to assist to get them ready for kindergarten. However, we differentiate and work with every child no matter where they are.
Okay, so if your child's a little behind in maybe you're hearing this and you're thinking, we have to really get going, it's okay. Everybody will get the help that they need when they walk in the door. That's great. You were gonna.
From an early childhood perspective, one of the best things that families can do is teach their children self-help skills.
Absolutely.
Let them learn how to tie their shoes maybe before they start kindergarten. Teach them, especially when we go into the daycare or the pre-K realm before they get to public school. In the pre-K section, we have families that bring their children in so that they can get a relationship with other children. It's important for them to be able to know how to get along with one another in a small space. We have 20 to 30 children in a classroom when they get to public school. We want them to know how to move safely throughout the classroom. That's the advantage of having a child in either with a family provider or in a child care center, so that they are able to learn these skills, how to line up, how to walk through the hallway safely,
Right.
how to get along with someone sitting next to you, someone who maybe wants the toy that you want. How do we solve those problems, giving them a little bit of a leg up before they get to kindergarten.
Right.
And that's the biggest transition from coming from home to a public school, is just learning the transitions, that it's not just me, it's me and a group of children, and getting along with those children, working, solving problems, walking in line, getting to the bus,
Yeah.
maneuvering to the cafeteria. And for parents, that's scary.
Yeah.
And so for the first day of kindergarten, we have a gradual entrance, which is great. So parents get to come with their child for the first day of school, and we ease them into it.
Right. And Niesha, you do home visits, right?
I do,
So you
yes.
go out, and so what are some of the things you're teaching parents when you go out and visit in the home?
So when we go in the homes, we mainly work on routines if it's prior to school starting, just so the parent and the family can get used to a simple routine. It could be bedtime, it could be morning routine, because routines set the mood for the day.
So talk a little
Yes.
bit about bedtime, because I've read a lot about that, and I've experienced, some of my children were very compliant at bedtime and some were not. And so how do you really teach that, like, consistency?
So of course every home is different. So we kind of map out what is this family looking at, because often there's a parent that works in the morning and one that may work overnight. So we kind of set up to say, what is your average quiet time in the household? So quiet time means read a book, relaxing, talking to each other. We want to turn off electronics just to kind of get the mood a little calm and relaxing. Some parents say they like to dim the lights, turn the lights off. But what can we do as a family that kind of drifts us to help transition us to bedtime?
Quiet time.
Yes.
Okay.
So we invent the quiet time if there's none. And then after we have the quiet time invented, then we say, what is your normal nighttime routine? Some parents say we take baths, showers, etc. They may do a snack at night. So then we kind of write that into their routine. And then we now, often we don't use alarm clocks, but we bring in alarm clocks back, because the child needs a visual. And sometimes the cell phone may not work right, or we may forget to turn it on and off, but that visual that they can see the 8 o'clock, the 7 o'clock, the 7:30 on an actual alarm clock for them to watch and kind of proceed is very, very helpful.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so we did a bedtime in a box.
Oh, nice.
Yes, and the bedtime in a box includes several books that the child can choose from, and a set of pajamas. There's lavender baby wash, which kind of calms, because lavender has that calming effect. And then there's an alarm clock. And there's a little teddy bear, which is an elephant teddy bear that they can kind of snuggle with at night.
Aw.
And a bath towel, so if they do take the bath, they have the bath towel to wrap in. And some activities that they can do that is going to enhance the quiet time. It could be, if there's an ABC chart, 1, 2, 3 chart, different activities that the whole family can do together to kind of set that routine into place.
Nice.
Yeah, we had a couple families that actually followed through, and they said that it changed their life, because now their child is able to go to sleep at night and get up on time and get ready for the day.
And that
so
sleep
important.
is so important.
It is so important,
Yeah.
yes.
For the child and the parents. So
Yes.
the parents are
Absolutely.
getting some sleep as
And
well.
some downtime probably too. When the child's in bed, you can have some time
Yes.
to read a book or relax or whatever. That's a great
Yeah.
point. Very good. But I know we also, in addition to kindergarten now, we also have some pre-K programs, correct?
Yes.
We do.
Yeah. So how does that work for registration and such? Like how does that happen? It's pretty soon, like in
Yes,
a
it
couple
is.
months, right?
So
May the 1st.
the first Friday in May.
Okay.
Yep.
And that's for pre-K and kindergarten registration.
Okay.
as well as early entrance and advanced placement.
Oh, okay.
So all the application periods begin the first Friday of May every year, not just this year, and they all end the first Friday of June.
Okay.
Although pre-K continues on throughout the whole school year.
And there's certain eligibility requirements for pre-K,
Yes.
which, we have I think a link or something we could share that parents could look and see.
Yes.
On the website under Harford County Early Childhood Programs.
Okay.
There's a lot of resources
Yeah.
and all the information that you need to know.
Oh, very good. Very good. And then thinking about pre-K, and we know we have that now, but also thinking about our working parents, like you mentioned, first shift, second shift. What about childcare? So how do we find it? Where do we go to get information? I know that's kind of your
That's
field.
my wheelhouse.
Yeah, your wheelhouse.
So probably one of the easiest ways is to go to checkccmd and .org. So that's where you can go to find all of the programs that are available in the state. Also, you could go to Child Care Locate, and Child Care Locate will tell you programs that are available, and also if there's anything specific that makes a program stand out. For instance, if the provider is Spanish speaking, if they have a lot of experience with children with special needs, one particular special need over another, that's a great place to find it. And always MarylandExcels.org, you can put in your zip code and it will bring up every program, every high quality program in the state in your zip code.
So what does that mean, high quality program? So what are you looking for when you think of for a parent? What should they look for?
So all programs that are licensed or registered in the state of Maryland have to follow regulations set forth by the Office of Child Care. They're basic regulations. They'll say, for instance, you have to have a discipline policy in order to have a licensed or registered program. What Maryland Excels does is takes a look at those programs and says to the provider, yes, you need to have a discipline policy. Let's make it a really great one so that we're best serving our children. Let's try to be proactive instead of reactive. Let's set up some positive discipline strategies. We'll give the children choices. We'll work on redirection, which is basically if you have two children that are, let's say, arguing over a toy and they can't decide, maybe we'll give them some verbal prompts and say, we need to share, we need to take turns. But if that doesn't work, sometimes we can just say, you know what, we're going to let this toy rest for a while. And how about if you come with me over to another center and just distract them and get them involved in something else. So we have the providers take a look at their policies and try to make sure that they're just serving best practice. We want them to be able to always be looking for what's best for the little ones.
Right. And I remember as a young mom having that childcare, in my case, was always a childcare mom who was really just my second pair of eyes and ears around, what's happening developmentally, what do I need to know, what's probably something I may not see at home, but I'm seeing there that I need to be aware of. I mean, that's a great partnership, right? Just like a teacher in the classroom, the childcare provider does the same thing.
Yes, and I think there's a very large misconception about what a child care center or family provider home should look like. Parents are often looking for paperwork coming home that shows my child can read their name, they can identify these letters, they can write their numbers, and it really isn't, high quality really isn't all about the academic product. It's really more about what the children are learning through play and through interaction.
Play.
It's huge.
It's hands-on.
It's hands-on.
And
how
it's
they
the same
learn.
exact thing in the public school system.
Yeah.
And
For
I
pre-K
think-
and kindergarten.
I think as early childhood educators, we know the amazing benefit of play, but I think that oftentimes we don't communicate that to our families and say to them, if your children are building in a block room area, let's say, they're not just playing with blocks. They're learning mathematics. They're learning how to stack. They're learning how to build. That's architecture. They can add and subtract. It
They're
goes
problem solving.
Yeah.
right.
They're
It goes
cooperating.
so much farther beyond what we see. And I think there's a big misconception where that is. So I think that's one of the most important things. If you're looking for high quality, when you go into a program, watch what's happening. Actually step back and watch the children play. They're interacting with one another. How is the provider or the teacher in that classroom interacting with those children?
Yeah.
Is she fostering the children sharing with one another? Is she fostering, if someone is upset, is she taking that approach where she's saying, are you angry? It's okay to be angry. Tell me that you're angry and tell me why. Let's figure out a way that we can fix it.
And that's that social emotional.
Right.
So
What
we're
should we
hearing
do?
a lot about social emotional learning as young children. That's what that is, right? So understanding emotions, how to control emotions. Because
Right.
I'm thinking by the time they get to the kindergarten or pre-K classroom, there needs to be some understanding of that, right?
Right.
And the biggest thing is young children, 2, 3, 4 years old, they're pretty egocentric, so they're pretty much all about me.
Yeah.
And then when they have to go into a school setting, you know, like we talked earlier, you know, they're just learning about that it's not just me. There's other people around me too. And just trying to manage their feelings and the teachers or the providers assisting them managing their feelings and working through problems and dealing with little situations.
And helping the child be able to process that and know what to do when they get angry. What should I do to help me feel better?
Right.
And putting those labels on it. It's okay to be upset. It's okay to be angry. It's
Right.
okay to be, it's okay to have your feelings. It's okay.
It's okay to make a mistake.
It's
Yeah.
okay to make a
Time out,
mistake.
right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
And teach them strategies. What do I do?
Yeah.
You know, if
And
I'm
then-
really upset, I can walk away.
Right.
We have calming corners where they can use little squishy balls to calm themselves down.
Oh, nice.
So that's implemented.
Adults
in
need
every
that too,
classroom.
calming
We do.
corners.
That would be nice to have one in every school.
They do. Parents often say, you know, I use timeout
Yeah.
with my children. If they start to get a little rambunctious, I'll ask them to go sit in the chair. There really isn't much of a benefit to just sitting them in a chair. What you want to do is just give them a little time like we would need as adults. Sometimes we need a timeout. And for those of us that are adults, we can take a step outside. You can get yourself a
Take
cup
a
of
walk,
coffee, distract yourself for a minute, and then whatever problem you were dealing with doesn't seem like such a big deal when you come back after that. For our children, it's the same thing. So if we have a calming corner or a little cozy area where they can just go and curl up on a soft pillow or with a blanket and maybe play with some low activity items, maybe putting a puzzle together or playing a matching game, something like that to just distract them. Because one of the biggest things that we know about children is if you just put them in a chair and say to them, now you need to think about what you've done. They're thinking about the spider that's crawling down the wall, oh, my shoes are untied, maybe I'll tie them together. They're going to think about things, anything that's going on around them instead of what happened.
Of course.
So then after they're calm and their mind is distracted, then we can go back to them and say, okay, now we needed a little time in the calming corner because we weren't necessarily using our best skills playing with our friends. And then you talk about what happened and how you can fix the problem.
So it sounds like, I mean, yes, we're going to need our children to understand letters and we need them to understand numbers, but really what we need them before they get to school is this social emotional piece.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
teachers can teach the rest of it.
Yep.
It's the sharing and that's good information for parents because I think that's something that we may not be aware of.
Right.
Yeah.
And just like we talked about earlier, just getting your child into a routine. Whether it's like, okay, we wake up, we brush our teeth, we get dressed, we eat breakfast, we go to school, we go to daycare, we go to work, we go to the library, wherever you go. And then when we come home, what is your routine?
Right.
Having a consistent routine is very important.
Well, and kind of what I'm thinking as you're talking is if we have parents who are distracted in any of these conversations, in any of these settings, if there's a screen that's distracting a parent, how does that interaction happen, right? If all of the things you've just described and that's my concern as you're talking, that sometimes as parents we're so distracted with cell phones or screens or something else that we're not taking the time maybe to have those interactions that are just so necessary for that social emotional learning for our little ones. I know I'm seeing that in my circles.
Yep.
I don't think parents realize that that's even happening.
Right.
Sort of you have to stop yourself and say, I need to wait and not look at this and talk to my child.
And deal with what's right in front of me right now rather than the screen and what the screen's telling me I need to do. Yeah.
And that's like, to me, a whole nother subject is just technology with young children. And that's going to be addressed at our summit that we're having.
Oh, you're having a summit.
We're having an early childhood summit
Oh,
on
that's
March
great.
18th.
Yeah.
And there's going to be several workshops for parents to sign up for. And one of them is the effects of technology with young children.
Oh,
And
good.
another one is the bedtime in a box, bedtime routines.
So where is it on March 18th?
It is at Bel Air Elementary.
High
from-
school or high school?
Bel Air High School from 5 to 8 o'clock.
Yes.
We're going to have dinner, and Dr. Bolson is going to speak.
Sean Bolson, our superintendent.
Yes.
Very
He's going
good.
to talk about early childhood to the parents and childcare providers that are there.
Great.
There will be childcare
Great.
provided.
Wow.
And it should be a great time and a lot of resources for parents to use.
So some other topics would be school readiness, like what to look for school readiness. Then there's going to be a school readiness make and take.
Yeah.
There's going to be something on childcare, so Rosemary's
quality.
going to do some high quality childcare. There's going to be some giveaways. Niesha talked about the bedtime in a box, so
Might be a giveaway.
some giveaways for bedtime in a box, as well as giveaways for school readiness backpacks. So it's going to be a really exciting event. Each of the topics are going to be about 20-minute sessions, so you can jump around and choose your session.
Oh, that's perfect.
There's one thing that I think parents don't realize
Yeah.
is that from birth to age 4, the child's brain is the biggest sponge, and they soak up the most knowledge from that point than any other time in their life.
Wow.
So it's very important to know that those interactions and just communication and experiences that you're able to give your child is going to be life-changing.
Right.
Sets
And
the groundwork.
I think to piggyback on that, a lot of times parents will say, well, I'm doing the best that I can at home, or I can't afford to go to a high quality childcare program. And the fact of the matter is, the state of Maryland has an amazing scholarship program where they offer basically vouchers to parents to assist them in paying for childcare. At this point, they've just doubled the amount of money, the amount of income that a family can make and still qualify for those vouchers. So a family of 4 can make up to $71,000 a year and still qualify for vouchers. That's what that money is there for. Please reach out. And I say to parents all the time when they're looking for childcare, there is no shame in accepting assistance.
Right.
That's what this assistance is there for, to allow everyone opportunities to engage in high quality programs.
And where do parents go to get information about the voucher?
The easiest way to do it is to go to the Maryland State Department of Education website and type in scholarship. Even if you type in voucher, it will come up. It used to be called the subsidy program. People call it the voucher program or the purchase of care program. So the easiest thing is just to type in and it'll send you right to the page. It tells you everything that you need to do. The application is there, as well as all of the different income brackets and how much you would qualify for. So it's a wonderful resource for
It
families.
does sound wonderful. $71,000. That's great.
Right?
That's really good news.
And you're going to be talking about that at the summit.
I am.
Correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'll bring some resources and have them to share.
Very good. So we talked a little bit about kindergarten registration, and we know that starts May 1st. Is that right?
The first Friday of May.
Yes, Friday of May. Oh, okay. So you have a parent who's new to Harford County, or they have their oldest child about to register. How does that start? What do they do?
So the easiest thing to do for registration is to contact your local school. So whichever elementary school you are housed at, you're going to contact that school, because each school has some different policies. For instance, some schools might have time slots where parents come in to register. Some schools just have an open door from 8:30 in the morning to 3:30 in the afternoon. But you're just going to contact your school. There's additional information on all of the different types of forms and documents that you will need to complete on harfordcountypublicschools.org on the early childhood page. There's a frequently asked questions document. But in general, you would need to bring your driver's license, your child's social security card, proof of residency, and your child's birth certificate.
Okay, and you go right to the school to do that.
You go right to the school to do that. The same thing for the pre-K application that you're going to complete. You're going to bring the same exact documents.
And that's all on our website.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And if you go to the school will have a packet for you, and they will give you the packet, and you can fill it out there, or you can take it home and gather your documents, and then bring it back to register.
Very good. But first things first, how do you know what your school is? Is it on the website? Like, can you figure that out? I think you can put in your address,
There
right?
is a school locator on Harford County Public Schools website.
School
if you put
locator.
your address in there, then it will tell you what school. Or you could ask your neighbors, maybe.
Where's that bus taking your
school do we go
kids?
to?
There we go. That sounds
Right.
great. Very good. Well, thank all of you so much. Thank you so much for your time and your expertise and your passion for young children and helping them get ready for school. It's wonderful. And we know that everything I've read has said, you know, if we don't focus on early childhood, then we're kind of catching up as kids are progressing through their education from beyond, you know, kindergarten. So what you do every day is just so important for children and for families. So thank you so much. And remember, Harford County Public Schools parents are our children's first and best teachers.